Hello everyone, I'm Sham. In this video also, I'm going to share with you some important recent current affairs, and at the end of the video, I'll also try to put before you how questions you can expect in different exams based on these issues. Very recently, United Nations Summit on Biodiversity took place. UN Summit on Biodiversity. It's a very important topic in the recent UPSC Civils Prelims 2020 UPSC. A lot of questions came from the environment. Okay, so recently United Nations Summit on Biodiversity took place. I think you all know what is CBD. Convention on Biological Diversity. CBD has almost 196 member countries. So in these United Nations Summit on Biodiversity, almost all these 196 member countries, a part of CBD, have participated. Talking about the steps to be taken to enhance the biological diversity and to protect the environment. And they have announced a very big sad fact that when they met in the year 2010, that is a decade before, they have fixed 20 targets. They have fixed 20 targets. And now in these 10 years, the sad fact is, out of these 20 targets which were fixed 10 years back, all the 20 targets have failed. When it comes to the biodiversity or the United Nations Summit on Biodiversity, 20 targets which were fixed in the year 2010, all the 20 targets have failed. This is what they have recently announced, a big sad fact which is clearly proving the fact that, especially in India, a lot of very needed reforms are lagging behind just because of the failure in the implementation. When there is no proper strict implementation, this is what happens. So all the 20 targets have utterly failed, which is definitely not a good sign, because the environment is absolutely today a delicate thing and absolutely the major area of concern. If you do not protect the environment, the repercussions are absolutely going to be horrible. That is the reason why very recently we also had a big study on EIA, right? EIA is something I think most of you know, that environment impact assessment. Basically, environment impact assessment is a study to evaluate the impact of various industries on the environment, correct? So EIA is a separate program. I think it's a big topic we can discuss later leisurely. That is the reason why recently EIA is also, it came into existence, environment impact assessment. Like I said, when it comes to implementation, which is a big challenge, which is a big setback, if you remember in the year 2008 October 2nd 2008 October 2nd, for the first time the government has announced to ban the public smoking. In the year 2008 October 2nd, public smoking has been prohibited. Public smoking is banned. But today, can we say that 100% public smoking is absent? No. However, we have to definitely appreciate the fact that there is a tangible difference when it comes to the number of public smokers compared with before. But we cannot say that 100% public smoking is absent today. Likewise, when I talk about the smoking, we have to also talk about a very important act in this context called COTPA. COTPA. COTPA is an act that was passed by the government in the year 2003. So COTPA stands for Cigarettes and Other Tobacco Products Act. Cigarettes and Other Tobacco Products Act. So very important piece of information which I have shared with you. Now that I have shared with you, I'll also try to put before you some important questions that you can expect in the competitive exams. I think recently, if you talk about the Union Public Service Commission prelims exam, I think most of you, if you have really attempted it or you have studied the model, if you have gone through the paper of the prelims exam, it is a shocking thing to understand that most of the questions in the civil service exam recently are very unconventional. They are absolutely concept based. That is the reason why every time I try to tell my students that whenever you study a concept, don't just go by the bits, go by the basic concept. If you do not study the basic concept, that is what going to happen. For example, if you do not study what is this EIA, it is going to kill us. Recently in the civil service exam also, we had a wonderful question based on biofuels, national policy on biofuels. So any important policy released by the government, any reform made by the government, we have to definitely go through that. Especially in the recent prelims exam, a wonderful question came like this, where what if a particular species of plant is put in the Schedule 6 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972? It is a direct question. But generally, some students know the fact that Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is what they study, but they do not study how many schedules are there, and they do not study what schedule has what content. So in the Schedule 6 of this Wildlife Protection Act 1972, any particular species of bird or animal or plant you put in the Schedule 6, you cannot grow the plant. The Schedule 6 of that act prohibits the growing of that particular species. Like that, every time you should remember that we should not just study the concept, but also the basic, the foundation of the concept is important, not just the bits. We should also study the concept. Like, I'll very quickly try to put before you some expected questions from today's current affairs issues. How many member countries are there in CBD? 196. What is CBD? Convention on Biological Diversity. When was the COTPA Act passed? In the year 2003. What is COTPA? Cigarettes and other tobacco products. When was public smoking banned in India? October 2nd, 2008. So recently United Nations Summit on Biodiversity announced how many targets have failed, which were fixed in 2010. All the 20 targets which were set up were failed in the were absolutely disastrous. So guys, this is something about the recent issues of current affairs and some bits you can expect from the issues. I hope this video will help those aspirants who are preparing for various government exams. I wish you very good luck and all the best.